What's going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today when I talk to you about Rivian, I want to go over some of the current data points, what is causing it to go down as much as it is, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So right now, it is down 3.57%, a hell of a lot of volatility. So 1077 the low, 1121 the high, kind of good volume somewhat within the first 30 minutes of the trading day. 6.4 million shares being traded, 27.9 is the average. But it's not a lot of buying, just a lot of entities selling. So these are all the transactions so far in the secondary market above $100,000, and everything has been a sell. You can tell that based on the bid, the ask, and the selling price. If anything as well, whoever is selling desperately wants to sell, and because they are even kind of doing it below the bid price. A couple big ones, 1.18 million, 1.93 million. Two different things is really influencing and kind of spooking the broader market, one of which was just came out just now. So you had manufacturing data, so it came in at 47.3 versus 47th the kind of forecast. Generally better than anticipated, but regardless, it is below 50, so it does show more of a contraction within the broader market. And that's not exactly what people want to hear. Aside from that, Powell did speak yesterday, and he even stated that labor data and employment data is more important to the economy right now than GDP. That was a very scary and bold statement. So when it comes down to it, this upcoming Friday, which unemployment rate is coming out, 4.2% is that kind of current estimate. Yeah, that one's going to be a data point that everyone and their dog is going to really be watching very, very closely. So again, a lot of that has just a lot of people somewhat spooked. And interesting point though, despite the somewhat volatility in the broader market, you are seeing the fear and greed index under the greed category. It was kind of a little bit higher this morning, so it was closer to the extreme greed category. So the manufacturing data is knocking that down slightly, but still very interesting to see it where it is. And as of right now, because of the recent data that came out yesterday and today, the likelihood of a 50 basis point cut has gone down dramatically from roughly around 58 to 38. So not necessarily the best, but still having a 25 basis point cut for the November 7th, I think that would be somewhat advantageous. And then at the same time, Powell kind of signaled a 25-25. So 100 basis points, I think in 2024 isn't all that bad, but this is the negative side of if the market starts to price in a 50 and then 25 happens, you get these kind of pullbacks. So Rivian's kind of encountering a technical breakdown as well. So again, a lot of different attributing factors. No actual news associated to Rivian itself, no SEC filings. So it is just kind of piggybacking off of the broader market as of right now. Shorts are kind of taking advantage of the fear and increasing 351,000 shares. 17.17% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 123.79 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost to borrow average is 1.03%. And generally, shorts have been kind of returning Rivian. So it had a peak on, it looks like September the 23rd of 18.53. So shorts have actually returned quite a lot. So maybe they're building some momentum to really start doubling down once again, take advantage of, like I said, the fear in the broader market. And as of right now, like I said, it breaking down on a technical stance is this right here. So this is the Elliott Wave Technicals. Does have a pivot point of $12.60. So for as long as it is below that, then it is anticipated to kind of touch that $8 range. So the low to kind of midish high or whatever it is. So 830 to 890 ultimately. So yeah, not the best all in all. And looking at options, again, factoring in the market's been only open roughly 30 minutes, 768,000 for calls, 617,000 for puts. So today's going to be a fairly heavy volume day for options, and as well through common stock. But 59% of all the options being done today are optimistic and bullish, but with shorts increasing, like I said, 351,000, I'm sure a lot of that is just shorts hedging. But of the call options that are being purchased, you do see a consensus for it to be kind of around that $12 range, so more of a recovery. And maybe that is linked to the employment data, so we'll just have to kind of wait and see. But looking at the puts, you do see a consensus for it to be sub $10, and even based on the October 18th chain right here, for it to be sub $9. So I don't know. People are anticipating a little bit more of a further breakdown from here. And hopefully entities start buying the dip when it comes to Rivian, but actually, sorry, just hit refresh. There was one transaction that was a buy, 114,000 at $10.80, or sorry, $10.81. So maybe, yeah, one buyer out there at least, regardless of what is happening. But with it right now at $10.82, it is flirting with this S2. So like I kind of mentioned, a full kind of technical breakdown, $10.34 is going to be the following support, aside from what it plays out, whether it closes above or below this S2. And then aside from that, the S1 is $11.10. So these are some of the support and resistance points that you kind of have to take note of. Still in the past, Rivian has gone through these extreme volatile periods, but it kind of does have a buying period where it kind of has a value run higher. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. As of right now, it seems to be recovering slightly, a little bit. So one entity clearly did buy. I don't know if it's correlated with that 114,000 that I just pointed out. But aside from that, looking on the actual chart itself, this is when I'm talking like full technical breakdown. Other stocks right now are flirting with, like for instance, the 50-day moving average and other key kind of support points. Rivian has been below that for a while now, ever since it looks like on September the 20th. So it is just breaking down fully. Stochastic, you do see it very oversold. So if there's a good piece of news that does come out, then you could see maybe some buying, some value investors really gravitating towards Rivian. But based on a lot of the interviews that's been coming out, I think just the expectations for this upcoming earnings is just dismal. So I'll go over that vaguely in a second, but number of retail investors as well are getting out. And in fact, this where my cursor is at 0. So anything below that does show that Rivian is losing more buyers than what they're getting. So not the best chain of events, but like I said, when it comes down to their upcoming earnings, analysts aren't that optimistic. So over the last 90 days, there has been 8 positive and 8 negative revisions to the earnings per share. Earnings per share estimate is negative 89 cents and revenue is 1.1 billion. So we'll just have to wait and see how this all does play out. But I think, like I said, just from a technical standpoint and a lot of the data points, there is going to be a little bit more downside coming. So what's your thoughts on Rivian? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. Do you guys think that it is going to get to that $8 range, or do you think it is going to break down more from there? Or do you think that this is just, it's going to kind of trend higher from here? Like, what's your thoughts? And when Powell mentioned that, for instance, that employment numbers are more important than GDP, did that freak you out, or is that just Powell being Powell? What's your guys' thoughts? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And on a side note, if you're ever wanting some free information, such as Elliott Wave Technicals, ownership for the latest 13Fs, everything that you need to ever know, take a look at IBKR, completely free. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you guys watching.